We begin?
We can.
All right. I'm Mary Riley, and tonight from the Ward 6 NPA Steering Committee, we have Joel, and we have Michelle Mraz, we have Nelson Martel, and that's all we have this. Oh, we have Caroline Hauser. She is on the phone calling and possibly losing connection, but she's here right now. And Matt Grady is unable to be here this evening. So thank you to everybody for coming. This marks 1 year of, although the last March was our last meeting that was in person. So this is our 1 year anniversary of COVID meetings. And hopefully we can meet in person sooner than later.
That would be nice. That would be nice.
Yes, yes. Oh, yeah, that'll be sharing a meal at the church. We can all just go in the same room. What a concept. So, all right, so this evening, I guess first off, we have to have our public forum. If anybody has anything to say in the public forum. I don't see any hands up, but I'm not sure.
I was just going to say, if anybody needs to present or do anything like that, like share their screen, just let me know and I'll make you a co-host.
Yeah, I've got a file of the slide deck that we've been presenting to NPAs and the zoning meeting, which I could try to put up. I've got my IT tech wife here next to me, just in case I need some help. But then William's also very capable. But I was looking at this as an experiment tonight, see if I can actually do this.
Doing it solo, Dave. Come on, we want to see you do it.
Yeah.
So Liam, could you make John Franklin's video active? He's providing our musical prelude this evening.
Sure. Yeah, I can ask him to start his video, but he himself.
Oh, okay. I thought, all right, I misunderstood.
Anyone else? Any other announcements in the public forum? All right. So next up, we have music.
Wait, I have a public forum.
All right.
So I was acting ward clerk for the election on Tuesday. Becky Lavasser was an acting inspector. Oh, and now she's an elected inspector. She's got a 3-year term as inspector of election in Ward 6. And I just wanted to give a shout out to Becky for running a fabulous write-in campaign. And for everyone in our planning team and all the election officials and all the workers who worked long and hard to pull off an incredibly smooth election for Ward 6. It was incredible. I was home by 9:15 p.m., which has never happened at an election. So I just want to say hats off to everyone who contributed to that election, including Karen Paul, who stood at the door getting blasted by cold air every 60 seconds. So anyway, I just wanted to shout out to all who were involved in the election in Ward 6.
Thank you. You folks did a really nice job, Michelle. I don't know how you folks do it. It was seamless. It was just really, really easy, and it was nice to come down.
All right. Any other public comment? Karen.
Hey, I can't let that one go, Michelle. You know, and we all like to think that Ward 6 does everything the best. They do elections the best. And it was great to have so many people who volunteered. You know, a couple of years ago, we had problems finding people to work at the polls. It was really hard. And now we have so many. I think it's really an embarrassment of riches that we have as many people who want to come, and it's a fun way to spend part of your day. You know, on election day, you see a lot of people, and but they were really well run. And I am so glad to know that you were home about 2 hours after I left. So kudos to all of you. That's wonderful news. I'm glad because it wasn't that long ago that you were there until after midnight, maybe even longer, but way too late.
2:15 a.m. after the general election in 2016. And I'll just to follow up on that, Karen, we haven't had a trouble finding volunteer workers. That has actually not been a problem. It's been a problem finding people to run to be an official. So inspectors and ward clerks, that's been a challenge. But Ward 6 has found a workaround for that, and it's working really, really well. And so we have a lot of leadership and we have a lot of support from volunteer workers. So yeah, it's working out. And I'm going to toot our horn. The only ward who has gotten back to City Hall, returning all the materials at the end of the night faster than us the last several elections, has been Ward 8. And Ward 8 has about half as many voters as we do. So we're doing great. Yeah.
Yay.
Yes. It's awesome.
All right. Anyone else? Public forum, public comment? All right, now we are fortunate enough to have music again this evening, and our music will be by John Franklin. And I see.
Hello, it's okay that I'm from Ward 5?
We'll let you in tonight.
All right, because it was a shambles here in Ward 5, I got to tell you. So I just want to make sure I understand the concept here. It's like I'm just going to be playing and you're going to be listening? You want to be sitting in a meeting for longer than you have to?
I see on the agenda, it says 6:45 to 7:30. Normally what we do is we have music for about 5 minutes, and then maybe after our city place representatives present, maybe you could play again if you're willing to stay a little bit after that presentation. If not.
Well, yeah, I don't think I can do that because I got to reach my kids and stuff, but play for as long as you want at the beginning.
5 minutes is lovely. That way, as people come on more, we can enjoy your lovely music.
Okay. Well, I'll give a shout out to my collaborator, Debussy. I'm going to play a piece by Debussy that's a little over my head, which means I'm going to play it more slowly than it should go. And there's still going to be a few passages that are a reach for me, but I'll do my best on it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
It's from a suite of pieces called Six Épigraphes Antiques, 6 Ancient Inscriptions. And this one is for invoking Pan, god of the east wind. Okay. Is that, I don't know how many minutes that was. Should I play another couple minutes?
I think that was perfect and lovely. Thank you so
Okay.
much. It's so nice to hear live music. I
Yeah.
really enjoyed it. Thank you so much.
Thanks for having me.
Thanks for crossing the ward boundaries for us.
Okay. All right. Bye now.
All right, next up, we have John Vickery. No, we do not. Next up, we have City Place. Thank you for coming. And Joel's going to introduce you. I just want to say one thing. My son is the most excited high school junior in the world to be going to BHS downtown tomorrow. Thank you so much from the bottom of my heart. I had the luxury of volunteering in it the other day, and it looks fantastic. It's got soul. It's not your basic boring high school. I think it's fantastic. There's no other high school like this in the whole country, and thank you so much for all the efforts you've put forth. And now I'll let Joel introduce you.
Okay, so next up, like Mary said, is City Place update. With us tonight, we have Dave Farrington. I haven't seen Jesse Beck. Is Jesse Beck on tonight?
He can't make it.
Okay, so in his place we have.
William Fellows is here. He's on the development team. He's the project construction architect, the construction administrator. Actually, he was involved way back when he was just a little boy with the first presentation. When Don first came to town, it was Williams' firm from New York City that had made the initial presentation of the City Place project.
We designed the 14-story building.
Wow.
Which is now a 9-story building.
And is Don with us tonight? I see him listed as being here. Don Sinek, is he here?
I don't see him.
I don't see him yet. He said he was going to join. He might.
Yeah, I sent him the invite, but
okay. Well, you guys have the floor.
Okay.
All right. So yeah,
Dave, you can put the thing. Yeah.
So somebody was going to allow me to share, right? Let's see here, share screen.
Yeah, you should be able to share.
Yep.
Could I ask people how familiar you are with the project? Did you participate in the public meetings we had in January, just to get a sense of how you've been following it and so forth? Did you see the presentation that we did in January and February?
I didn't.
I didn't know.
No. Okay.
I think Karen's seen, I sent her the slide deck a month or so ago, and I think I also sent it to
Matt.
And did I send it to you, Joel, also?
No, if you did, I just haven't had time to look at it.
Yeah. So no, I opened it. I don't know if it's up there or not.
You just have to share your screen through Zoom. When you head back to the Zoom meeting, there should be a green button down at the bottom that says share screen for you. There you go.
There we go.
Okay. So what are you seeing?
There you go. You got it.
All right.
Yeah, the City Place Burlington, Vermont team. The whole page is up now. I think.
There we go.
I think you're good.
This is a first here, and William can do a test to my
Oh, Dave, you got it.
Luddite tree.
You got it. You got it.
All right. So, yeah, this is exciting. So this is our presentation we've been making to the NPAs. We presented to 4 and 7 last week. Obviously, we presented to 2 and 3 when we were going through the original hearings. And this is basically the set of plans that was presented to the zoning office as part of our permit package that, again, tooting our horn tonight, we got through the DRB last night with a 5-0 unanimous vote in approval of the package, which lets us move ahead on the next steps. So this first slide just calls out our team here. The Freeman, Jesse Beck, who can't be with us. We're using local civil engineering firm, Engineering Associates, down on Flint Avenue. And the environmental landscape people, SE Group is local, ATC is a local firm. And then our development team, which is led by Don, myself, Scott Ireland, Al Senecal, and William. And Matt Young is our consultant who's been working on the estimates and the scheduling and some of the presentation packages. So this next slide shows us, just kind of locates where we're at. You can see the slide, or the place in the yellow is the whole project site that's bounded by the existing Cherry and Bank Streets, and shows the new proposed St. Paul Street on the right-hand side, which is the dotted yellow line going up the right-hand side, and the new proposed Pine Street extension on the left-hand side that ties the existing Pine and St. Paul through to where they used to run up to Cherry Street. And then the pinkish color over on the side is the new Macy's project, which new Burlington High School, which we just completed yesterday, and the kids are back today. So that kind of gives you a layout of the land. Next slide shows in these light gray colors the proposed buildings that we're going to construct. This U-shaped building, which is on the north side of the project, that fronts Cherry Street all the way between the old Macy's building and where the L.L. Bean building now sits. The entire frontage of Cherry is going to be a U-shaped building. We're proposing to build it in 2 phases, getting going this fall on the northwest side, which is going to be like a L, which has got about 170 or 180 apartments in it. And then following up with the remainder of that building, which is the kind of 7 shape that comes back down St. Paul Street, continues along Cherry and down St. Paul. And that's got about the same number, 170 or 180, for a total of 350 apartments in that first building, the north building, as we're calling it. The last phase of this project, which follows up after this north building's built, and the parking garage, that's kind of an infill. That's like the donut hole in the middle. South building has about 70 units in it for a total of 400 and, what's the number, William? 420?
426.
426. The blue colors show the new roadways on the left and right side, or the east and west of our building lot, showing the new Pine Street extension that connects from right by the corner, the intersection of 100 Bank, the old Chittenden Bank building, and the Macy's building. It used to continue right alongside there, and we're going to reconnect that, as well as on the east side, the St. Paul Street new road extension that will come from the existing NBT Bank building alongside, in between the Bean building and our new project, and tying in at that intersection that's right by the new bus center. That's about it for this slide. There's a couple of the elevation. This is looking, boy, where's that, William? That's
it's looking down the new Pine Street across Cherry, looking I guess southeast, looking that way from the north.
Macy's is just off to the right.
Church is just off to the left.
Yep. Okay. So our total project, we've got 426 units of housing throughout the two buildings and 3 phases of it. with the 20% inclusionary housing, puts us at 85 affordable units that are 20% of whatever we have, which is like a studio or a 1-bedroom or 2-bedroom. 20% of those become this inclusionary housing. We've got about 40,000 or so square feet of retail space at the ground floor circling the entire project. So all the street front is active with retail spaces. Like I said, in between all the buildings, there's kind of that donut hole in the middle, and that's where we've got the parking garage. We've got 420 or so spaces for cars and 350 or so spaces for bikes in there. And the total size of this whole project is about 700,000 square feet, which is about 30% less than the original proposal that was brought to the city, say 4 years ago. That was a little over 1 million square feet. This is now the highest level here is the 10th floor. That's a restaurant, I believe, over on building 2. And this building that's shown here is 9 stories high. Here's a little.
I did click on it too. Yeah.
Yep. Here's a depiction of the old versus the new, or we'll say the Devonwood Brookfield version versus the new City Place version. So the light gray that's kind of towering over everything was the original proposal that had it topping out around 14 stories. And now the new height is, the highest thing is the mechanical penthouse on top of the south building, which is on your right-hand side. This is like a slice right through the building if you're standing at Macy's looking east.
So there's been about a 50-foot drop on the north and about a 20-plus drop on the south from what it was originally.
Go down here. Hold on. So, yeah, this is the lowest level of the parking plan. We've got about 215 or so spaces, 214 spaces here. This is below grade, which you drive in. There's a couple of ways to get into the parking levels, but you come off of either the New Pine or the New St. Paul, and you get down below grade to this parking. And it has storage for the tenants and some mechanical spaces, some MEP, electrical rooms and boiler rooms and kind of utilitarian stuff in the basement. This is the plan at street level. All the yellow colored boxes you see are different retail stores, different sizes that are available. And this isn't really totally fixed in stone. There's flexibility in how these different sizes can come into play. If somebody needs a little more, a little less space, we've got basically storefront all the way around the 4 sides of our project, which is retail, glass storefront. You walk into these various spaces. There's other entryways into the parking garage or loading docks that allow you access to the various parts of the buildings. Next level up, there's additional parking all the way around. The yellow shows the stair towers that access with elevators each level. And then above that, we get into apartments. And on the U-shaped building, that's the part of the Cherry Street frontage. That building's all residential once we're above the commercial retail space. And it's a layout of different size apartments, studios, 1-bedroom, 2-bedroom apartments all the way around. And they'll be looking out over a courtyard that is the top of the parking structure in between the buildings. with the south building, that's the building that runs parallel to Bank Street. The second floor, we've got some community space that was negotiated in the development agreement that is open meeting space for whoever. It'll get scheduled through the CEDO office. All the different wards can use it if they want to have their meetings there. It'll be open space. There'll be some private offices, a co-working space, which is kind of open and open to the public. It'll be like by subscription, and some more kind of utility space around the perimeter of that. Next level up, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, I believe, are all different varying floor plates that just show the different options for apartments, the 1 bedrooms, the studios, 2 bedrooms, on each level in each building. Right through the 8th floor, looking very similar. I'll let William explain what's going on up here. He's been more involved in this.
Well, this is the roof level. The north side is has a green roof, and there are 2 mechanical penthouses. The green roof is related both to the city requirements as well as dovetailing into our LEED Gold application. And on the south side, we have an observation deck, which is part of the development agreement, along with the community space that we saw below. And with that is a restaurant with its kitchen that is part of the observation deck, and people can come up and either use the restaurant or use the observation deck, have a view of the lake.
And William, can events be scheduled up there on the observation deck?
Yeah, as well as in the community room. And I think the restaurant probably is going to have a schedule of having private events or public events, depending on what they are. So the whole thing could probably be used as one thing, as well as they could be used separately in a simultaneous manner.
Yeah. So like somebody could have a wedding up there out on the green space observation deck and then have it catered inside, right?
Yeah. Or a political event.
Yeah, we've had enough of those. We've had enough of those for a couple of years.
Or a community event.
Yeah. All right. Next, this is the tippity top roof right here. And
this is showing I think we got like 150 kW PV array. We're trying to bump that up a little bit more, but that's actually with the revisions from the previous design till now, we've actually been able to grow this PV array, which is a sort of a benefit of having a smaller building.
Yeah, these are the solar panels that'll feed into our house electrical system and help cut down on our electrical usage.
Somewhat, yeah.
And then next up, that's kind of another just the perspective. We're kind of standing at like the across from Ella Bean at the city or the state office building, looking southwest at what's going to be the new building. That's St. Paul Street. That's going to be kind of cutting down between Bean and our building. You can see the light gray building over on the kind of in between Bean and the red building is the building that's on Bank Street. And this is the corner of the building on Cherry and St. Paul. The bus station, you can see the old cathedral bell tower on your right. So that kind of gives you that corner perspective.
This was done, you can see the difference between, this was done to show the change in height and massing that we had before and to what we now have.
So it sounds like height was a really big issue.
Yes, definitely was, Joel. Definitely was.
And then the next one, where are we looking here? This is along,
Just
This
looking
not-
back across Cherry, yeah.
yeah,
So
This is-
part of the form-based code is has a lot of emphasis on storefront clarity, transparency into the stores. So you can see that from St. Paul to the new Pine Street, it is mostly glazing, mostly retail. There are obviously some building entrances that go along with that, but it is along this view corridor, which Cherry is designated as this, I think is going to have a big impact in terms of making the connection between Battery and Church Street.
right. They're trying to encourage a lot of traffic from Church Street back down to the waterfront along this road and connecting the waterfront to the marketplace. So a lot of shops along this lower level on Cherry Street will give people a chance to at least draw them off of Church Street or draw them off the waterfront and get them mixing on this street.
Yeah.
Let's see, next one. Where are we here?
Just looking down Pine Street at 100 Bank.
Yep, 100 Banks, the brown building over in the right-hand corner. So this is the corner of, basically we're standing at the corner of Macy's at the new high school looking east. Next shot.
This is down on Bank.
This is the Barb McGrew shot right here. Right?
Well, she'd be up a little higher, I think.
Yeah, right. We know that. But yeah, this is from the KeyBank building or the old Emerald City waterbeds looking north. Who remembers that?
You can see
So
the
there's
two of
restaurant on
us.
top.
Yeah. This is the standalone building that is on the corner of St. Paul Street and Bank Street. And it goes to the west and stops just short of the existing 100 Bank Street, 7 Burlington Square building, the brown building that's standing there on the corner right now. Street level shot of the same.
This is, you can pass this. These are two-dimensional images of the streetscape. This is looking at it from St. Paul.
Yeah, this slide deck was put together for the DRB presentation yesterday, I believe.
This is looking along Bank Street elevation. You can see the massing comparison to 100 Bank. This is observation deck, should have a clear view over the top of 100 Bank.
Right? Along here?
Yeah. There are some mechanical pieces on top of 100 Bank, but I think you'll definitely be able to see across it. The views to the north are actually as interesting and as the views to the south.
Right. Yeah. Beautiful mountain views to the west, east.
Yeah. This is looking along Cherry Street elevation. And looking at it from Pine Street.
Right. So if you're standing in the new high school looking east. That's it.
That is it.
Wow. Very impressive. So are we ready to open up for questions? Do we have any hands for questions? So Mary, I'm not sure how to let the questions come through.
Michelle is our hosting. She's got control, so Michelle will be able to let it, however, speak.
I think Mark has a hand up, and I think everyone's been promoted to panelist. So I think Mark can go ahead and ask his question.
Yeah, thanks, Dave. That was a very interesting presentation and delightful to see the advancements made over the past months. Three really quick questions. Number one, what is your estimation about whether these will be rental units or will they be buying of the apartment space? That's the first question. The second is, do you have retail interest already in these spaces? And then third, I'm interested in that solar array. What percentage roughly do you think of the energy demand will be met by the solar array? You may not have that answer, and that's totally understandable, but it's the first two questions that interest me a lot. Thanks so much.
Yeah, on the questions of the rental, they will be all rentals now. At least the first phase of the building that's on Cherry Street, and we intend the second building, which fronts on Bank Street, to be rentals with possible conversion to ownership opportunities. You know, at some point, we're not sure. Right now, the financing atmosphere is, and it has been for a while, condominiums are hard to get financed because you don't have a whole lot of pre-sales, and the banks rather have one person responsible for paying back the loan than, say, 70 people. And that's always been the conundrum with condos versus rentals. Until it's full, then the banks will lend you all kinds of money. So it's that's in the play, but definitely, on the table.
But it's generally seen as rental, and as Dave says, possibly converting to ownership at some time in the future for the southern building.
And then the second question was, do you have any interest from people wanting to rent retail space right now? Do you have any interest in people wanting to open stores?
Well, in the past, go ahead, Dave.
Well, just from day one, people have been interested in, an expanded retail opportunity in Burlington. Some of the existing shopkeepers that may want to open additional places, other people that have always wanted a place downtown. So it's going to open up 40,000 square feet. I think we've got, about 11 separate units right now, but it could be more or less. But downtown Burlington is that we get a lot of great people out there shopping, right. And it's interesting for people, and I think
so. William, did you understand the third question about the grid?
Well, that is a sort of a fluctuating thing. I think it would be somewhere in a 10% range of capacity for the solar array. We're trying to increase that, and we have started to have conversations with BED about converting to an all-electric condition in terms of trying to work with their zero carbon plans. And we have in the past been participating in the 2030 initiative, which is part of that. And I think as in going into that with them, the photo array becomes a little bit more important than it was before. So, but it's not a large one. So.
Okay. Well, thanks a lot. Much appreciated.
You're welcome.
We're also kind of pursuing some other options on additional PV sites within the city that we could partner with or potentially bring in the output, the production from, and help contribute towards our base load. But again, the project was originally planned primarily as like a Vermont gas based heat source, but we have kind of come to terms with the administration and Burlington Electric looking towards trying to divert from the carbon-based stuff and getting to more of the electrification side of it. but there's a lot of balls in the air there, and we're working on all those, trying to brainstorm and see where we can, get some traction. But it's exciting.
It looks promising, though. I think that we should be able to make progress with it in terms of our translating certainly heat to electrification, which is the BED's main goal.
Okay, well, thank you. Do we have another question?
Yeah, it looks like, I think Liam has a question.
Hey, folks. I had to leave because of my internet. So, Nelson, would you be able to try and make me into a host? I'm just doing some troubleshooting behind the scenes here with Michelle. So thank you very much, Michelle.
I don't think any of this is behind the scenes. I think all the participants get to see our communications.
That's
problem. Because everyone's a panelist. Hey, I have a question. Can I ask?
I think Karen had a question first.
I'll let Michelle go. That's okay.
Oh, thanks. Can you say a little bit more about the green roof? I had to step away for a minute. I may have missed part of a broader explanation of that.
Well, the green roof is, I think the local code is asking for 10% of the roof to be permeable. I'm not quite sure the percentage from the LEED Gold, but they very compatible in terms of overlaying one onto the other. And the green roof, as hopefully some of you know, is a more of a visual thing, and it's not something you walk on, but it does detain a certain amount of the stormwater, or it slows it down. And we see it on the garage roof, we see it on the upper roof, and there's some setbacks on the southern building where we also are going to install it.
I thought maybe it was rooftop garden space for the tenants, but it's not.
Well, there is, when Dave was showing the plan that had the amenity floor, the northern building amenities are at the garage roof, and we're looking to have access to the roof for some outdoor activity. That roof, it will have a large portion of it will be green, and then some of it will be for mechanical equipment that would be screened from everything. But so we see that has outdoor usage, as well as the rooftop observation deck, which is on top of the southern building, would have access as well.
Yeah, but to be clear, it's not like a soccer field up on the roof, though. It's something that's designed to absorb a lot of rainwater and hold some, and then dissipate over time. And also, not be a stark like white roof or black roof like you see on a lot of flat top roof buildings. It'll be kind of neutral and take in some of the energy and retain stormwater.
So, for instance, you can go from the amenity space out onto what would be a wearing surface on that lower roof, on the garage roof. The southern building, which has the co-working space and the community space, there's a setback there. Some of it would be accessible to go out on, but then the remainder of that will be green roof that you can.
So is it the north building amenity space? Are you saying that there could be some gardening there?
Well, not gardening, like you mean like a vegetable garden?
Like container gardens or?
Right. We haven't thought of that, though. It's not out of the question, but most of that roof is being spoken for already in terms of the green roof, which is required for the stormwater, as well as for like paved areas for people to be able to be outside on the roof. And then the mechanical, what's left over is more likely going to be for mechanical.
So if you wanted to grow tomatoes, you can't really do that in a container.
I wouldn't say it's out of the question, Michelle, but it's on a larger scale. It's not clear to me how that would be done, but certainly there may be opportunity for some people to do that.
On an individual level.
Yes.
Yeah. I know that up at the hospital, there's a green roof over the oncology building, and the nutritional services actually does grow some, cherry tomatoes and basil and that kind of stuff. They're not out there with a tractor,
That's not what I was
but
describing.
yeah.
I think the Burlington Airport also has some examples of green roofs with not with gardens, but with flowers, shrubs. And then Washington, D.C. and New York, of course, are doing that on the tops of buildings a lot.
Right.
Maybe that's what Michelle
We're
is getting
patterning
at.
the design of the roof, green roof on the airport garage roof.
Yeah, so Mark is right. I was thinking about what we read about New York and Washington, where they utilize rooftops for container gardens or beehives or other things like that.
And that's not in it right now. No.
Yeah, I think that would be a real selling point as part of your gold certification. Seems to me that would be very, very attractive.
Karen?
Thanks, Joel. So I have a couple of questions. Is that mine?
I see you. You do? Turn your volume.
I think
There we
it's
go.
Megan. Yeah.
That's no problem. So first of all, congratulations. I, as a policy, because the Development Review Board is quasi-judicial, since being elected, I don't go to DRB meetings. So I was not aware of what went on at the DRB meeting, and congratulations on that. 5-0, I get it. So the two questions that I get asked the most are, one, what the timeline is from getting through the DRB to some cement mixer showing up and starting to pour foundation, which I assume is the first thing that would be done, but you can correct me if that's not true. And then the second is, since the settlement agreement with the city council just a week ago, where are you, or has there been any developments that you can speak to with regard to financing?
Well, I can start off with thank you for you being instrumental in our not just 5-0, but 12-0 unanimous approval of getting the revised development agreement through. And I know you were working hard. Yeah, 10-2 to nothing. You worked really hard because you believe in this, and you've been behind this from day one. We really appreciate that. That was a big win. And again, last night was a big confidence booster in moving this thing forward. There's still a lot of work to happen. We have weekly scheduling meetings, and we talk about this. We've been talking about this since September. William could probably walk us through the next steps of, there's a little bit of review period, and then go into the final design stuff that has to happen before we see trucks on the site. But William, you want to walk them through a little bit of that?
Sure. We've been pushing the TCO schedule through, kind of bumping it down the road till we finally got in and reviewed by DRB. But that schedule shows a construction start in the middle of September of this year. And different from our previous plans, we have segmented this building project into three basic pieces. The northern building, as Dave had earlier said, is broken into two parts. So the northwest quadrant would be the first part along with the garage. Second part would be the northeast quadrant, and then the southern. So the completion, I don't know I can't on the top of my head, the completion of the northern building in its totality would be in 2024. And the completion of the southern building would be in the fall of 2025. So that there is some overlap between the first two segments and the second, but the idea that we would be in the ground and putting apartments in the northeast quadrant into occupancy in, I think, as early as late 2023, and the northeast quadrant in late 2024. So there are some things that we need to do now. We have engaged most recently with DPW, and we have to get through some things with them. We need to get our documents in order, but I think that we're going to have to run a little bit. But I think September's start date is not out of the question now. And we have previously had a much earlier approvals sort of date in the end of January. Now that's at the end of, we can say the end of February, right? Even though it's the beginning of March. But so we're looking to sort of collapse a few things that we didn't want to do when we set that plan out initially. But I think the schedule still holds against what was issued as TCO schedule completion dates.
Well, it would be very exciting to see this happening in 2021. And then I just wanted, mostly Dave, for your information. I mean, William has been around since the beginning, but I did want to acknowledge, mostly because Mark is here, that there really was no greater advocate and ally to see City Place become a reality. I mean, there were many elected officials, there were, a lot of community members, but when you talk about community members, probably one of the strongest proponents of seeing City Place become a reality was Mark Freudenberg's wife, Karen. And I can't even begin to tell you the amount of time and energy she put in to seeing some of these issues passed by the city council and by the voters. And I have to say this because Mark is here. I hope he's listening. And just to say to Mark that I'm sure that Karen would be overjoyed to know that this project that is certainly, still a part, Don is still a partner, but the three local partners are more committed than anyone that we have worked with to making sure that this project happens. And I hope that you would say that Karen would be overjoyed to see that we've reached this day. So thanks.
She's clapping in heaven, that's for sure.
I'm sure she is.
Well, that's nice. Nice to hear. I mean, you and I have talked a lot, and our commitment to this. I was born here, brought up on South Winooski Avenue, moved to Shelburne, lived on Spear Street, went to Christ King School, Rice High School, UVM. Haven't left 5 miles of my epicenter here, and this is really important. And to me personally, and to be able to do this, just a little glimpse of it just this last week down at BHS at Macy's, people coming in and saying, "Oh my God, thank you for doing this." And just once it's in play, it's like, let's get this done. And that's how we all are. And William, he's now an honorary member of Burlington. He decided to move up here 2 years ago, bought a house. He's committed 100% to seeing this through. I'm a
member of Ward 6, Dave.
Right.
Right.
So,
Right.
And Karen, you've talked with Scott and Al and I enough to know we're going to get this thing done, and it's going to get done right, and it's going to be great for Burlington. And once we're behind something, it's hard to hit the brakes.
Well, I think that is one of the things that, for those that are listening, is that, I have been supportive of the project because of what it will bring for downtown Burlington. And when I had spoken with, the many people that had been involved with Brookfield and others, and had said to them, just build this city, build us an amazing building. And the usual response that I would get would be, we'll do our best. And the response that I get from Al and Dave and Scott is, you can bet on it. And I think that's a big difference, is that you're talking about people that are truly committed. They're truly committed, and they live here. They've got families here. Their business and reputations are here. And hey, Dave, we know where to find you.
Yeah, you can knock on my door anytime. As long as the white truck's in the driveway, I'm here.
We have another question.
I was more thinking, we know where to find you.
I have a question.
Yeah.
Okay, and then we have a written question as well. So was that Andrea?
And I have a question too.
Hi, Andrea.
Actually, Megan's had a question for quite a while. I think she ought to go first.
We can allow both of them. So I will read Megan's question. How's that? Megan Epler Wood wrote, I have followed the issue of electrification of heat for new buildings where your construction budgets and plans include electrocution of heat.
What did you say, Karen? We'll do our best. Yeah, I think we're headed in that direction, and it looks good. So I think we're going to do it.
Okay.
Mary, who was next?
Andrea had her hand raised.
It's a very small question. I came in really late, so I saw it, missed a lot. But is LL Bean still committed? I know they're adjoining. I guess they adjoin the development, but are they a committed player for the future in Burlington?
Well, we hope so.
It hasn't been articulated, or.
Well, they've weathered it out, so.
I know. I just. Yeah.
So I would say I like to believe they're gonna continue, but time will tell.
Yeah, maybe
they've weathered out a lot of things, so yeah.
Maybe some reaching out is in order. Anyway, just wondered. Thank you.
Okay, this is probably the last question. Go ahead, Neil.
Hi, you didn't answer Karen's question about financing, and I don't want to be a Debbie Downer, but how can you be comfortable that you're going to get financing when Brookfield, who has billions of dollars of assets, could never get financing for this project?
Yeah.
Well, I can make a statement. As of last night at maybe 7:30, it made things a lot easier. And along with the city council vote the week before, we've had many conversations with financing institutions, and they've never wanted to take it to the next level with the understanding, like, why is the city suing you, and why don't you have permits? And so we're working through all those roadblocks and hurdles, and every step of the way we're getting better and better. And last night's vote is really going to open up the doors to more people that we've had conversations with. And it's not like we're just waiting for somebody to come to us. We're out there every day talking to banks. We're talking to private financing equity groups. There's a lot of interest in the project, but there's a lot of questions about, initially from day one, when we bought the project back from Brookfield, I think the date was September 7th, September 8th, the city sued us. Bankers don't like that. And it's kind of like a hands off, and they're like, what's going on? I thought, you had some support there. We worked through that. We got through the mediation. We got through the MOU. We got through the revised development agreement. That's all big steps. to moving ahead. And every roadblock that we cross over and kick out of the way makes these conversations with the banks and financing organizations a little more real. The story with the financing, it's not a story, but Don had arranged for financing with the first phase project, the 1 million square foot project. And when presented to the Brookfield people, they were not particularly fond of the terms that were presented. And they said, no. We can find a better way. And then it devolved into them not finding a better way and then wanting to leave. And that's where we got involved. So I've got a lot of confidence that over the next couple of months, we're going to have some good news as to finding a financing partner and keeping this ball rolling.
Thank you, Dave.
And William can speak parallel to the private and the banking, the institutions. William's been working hand in hand with Don on the HUD approval process, which is this huge process that you get through eventually. We're continuing to put the effort into pursuing it. It's a long, lengthy, difficult process, but we're staying with it as a parallel path because we always want some options. But William, you've been involved in the last couple of days on some of that.
Met with them earlier this week, and that's several meetings in actually with them. So the process is been taken a certain distance. It has some more to go, obviously, given the nature of the beast, but they're looking at it in a favorable manner. You know, I think it's unfortunate, and obviously it's water on the bridge, but we were able to get, as Dave said, we had financing for this project. It was unfortunately derailed. And we had a term sheet ready to go for over $200 million. So it was not, and it goes to Don because Brookfield balked at it, and he took it. He took it and ran with it and was successful getting it. I think, as Dave says, we have our approvals. We're moving towards our documents. I think things are good. We're going to be able to get the financing that we had before, not necessarily through the same entities, but we're going to be able to get it. And I think part of the way we've sequenced it now, which is a little bit different than before, is that this is in more, particularly to HUD, the fact that we segmented it into 3 parts. They're in the $60 to $70 million range of for each building project. So this is a much more manageable financing profile.
Well, I guess we're out of time, but thank you, gentlemen, for coming on tonight. It was interesting. It was thorough, and it was we're all excited. We're just everybody. You know, you can feel that the city's ready.
Yeah,
he's just ready for this. Yeah. So
well, thank you, and Karen, thank you in particular. You've been very helpful. It couldn't have happened without you. So.
Yeah, and we'll keep in touch, and happy to do updates as we go along. You know, anytime you have a question or you want to pull one of us in for Q&A, we're happy to be there. We're not going anywhere.
I would say that as things develop, that part of getting the general public understanding what's available for rental purposes to help us with creating people of interest who were looking for an apartment, that it works both ways, and it'd be very helpful to come back and talk to you about what are the apartments and what are they looking like and so forth. And it may be an accessible way for people to see, well, I could live here. This would be a place I would like to live. So.
Yeah, let's plan on that in the future. That sounds like a great idea. We'd love to hear more, and then you can get the word out more. So
yeah, Yeah.
Yeah, thank you. Thanks.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks, everybody.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Thank you. Good night.
Good
Take
night.
care.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
See you later.
Bye.
Bye.
Next up, John Vickery with the City Assessor's Office. Hi, John. I think you were on mute and now you are not. I believe you had wanted to do your presentation. Are you okay with sharing the screen? Do you know how to do that?
Yes, I do.
Okay.
To share the screen, I'll pull up my presentation.
You can, I believe at the bottom of your Zoom presentation, you can.
Let's see.
If you go to the bottom.
Yep, there should be a green button that just, yep, perfect.
Yeah. There you go. Oh, is this you?
Is this, I'm not seeing it in front of me. Read this report.
The leader in the 2020 Gartner Magic Quadrant for Meeting Solutions?
No, this is not it.
This seems like
Let me go
somebody else's presentation.
Hold on. Let's try this again. Thought I grabbed the right one. There we go. And I will set this presentation. Does everybody see that?
Burlington Citywide Reappraisal Project 2021.
Thank you. Yes. Hi, I'm John Vickery, and I've been the Burlington assessor for almost 19 years, maybe 20 years. We're doing a revaluation. We're in the second year of the revaluation, and we're moving forward regardless of COVID. And so there's lots to let everyone know about. First, I want to just explain the market. This is a graph that we looked at the median home sales of single-family homes and duplexes from 2016, 17, 18, 19, and 20. You can see how the market has increased about 6%. So we're projecting in 2021 another 6% increase. What I'll do is I'll just chat, and then at the end I'll take questions. Okay. Ward 5 and Ward 6. I grabbed the sales from those two wards because it's in the south end, and the median house value in 2020 is $564,000. There is a non-waterfront sale of 1.2 million. And a waterfront sale, 1.7. The lowest sale in that list of sales was 333,000. This is higher than the citywide average of $370,000. The median in these two neighborhoods is higher than the median overall in the city. We are doing this reappraisal. I've said this in other presentations that we were mandated by the state tax department for good reasons. We weren't meeting statistical measures and that measure equity of property values. So we're straightening them out. That's the goal of this reappraisal, is to reset values, put them back at market, and therefore create equity. The valuation tables were outdated. They are going to be updated. And the last reappraisal was done in 2005. So many years ago now. Here's the timeline up until we receive tax bills. In a few weeks, we'll send out letters to every property owner of the change of value. And that letter will have information on it to telling people what their value is, how they can review their value against other property values, and if they choose to have a hearing, they can schedule that. Those hearings will be with the Board of Assessors in April, probably for the entire month of April. And because we're in this COVID environment, the The hearings will be held by Zoom meetings, and or you could phone in if you'd like. And you can file your appeal online. Everything's electronic now. In May and June, we'll spend the next 2 months reviewing all of those appeal properties, making last minute changes and resetting the values, resolving those valuation issues for the July tax bills. I also want to just give you some information. We set values as of April 1st, and the values are going to be based on the current market as it is right now. Tyler Technologies Incorporated, they have a reappraisal division, and they're conducting the general property reappraisal for us. Safeguard Organic Analytics specializes in commercial valuations, and so they're doing the commercial properties. I think I mentioned that letters will be mailed in about 3 weeks, and I hope that everyone reads the letter. Our website is not fully updated, but it does have a lot of information on it right now. And we've had property information of individual properties online for many years now. And that's a great way to take a look at your own property, make sure the data is correct, and also to look at other properties for good information. It's used a lot. We also have just general information on what a reappraisal is and what it does. And then we have another page for the valuation appeal process with the Board of Assessors. So appealing your property value, if you choose to, I wanted to lay out the steps for that. It's all going to be electronic. You can file your appeal online electronically. We'll take mail as well, but we prefer electronically because it makes it easier for us to communicate back and forth with the property owner. A Tyler Technologies administrator will call or email every single person that has filed an appeal to set them on a calendar. It's going to be a scheduling system like Calendly, whereas people will have slots that they can put their hearing time in. And then the hearings will be virtual, of course, through Zoom meeting software, which I think we're using right now. And that's my presentation. Does anyone have any questions?
Joel Fitzgerald, there's a lot of folks in my neighborhood that are getting up there in years. Is there any concerns about them navigating through the appeal process online?
Yes, we are going to have a 1-800 number set up, and that'll be in the letter so that if folks are not comfortable filling out the form online, they can call that 1-800 number. There's the Tyler staff will answer the phone, and they will actually fill out and schedule for those folks.
Okay, yeah.
I have a question. John, will the new valuation be in the letter
Yes,
that you originally sent out?
yes, it will.
Okay.
I have a question. Is it based on April 2020 or 2021?
April 2021.
So how does it work? I mean, obviously, there's been this huge increase in value because of the pandemic and all kinds of people coming in that weren't here before. Does that just mean things sort of readjust, or does that mean we're all going to be looking at a greatly increased tax?
Well, let's separate the market. It has been increasing. There's no doubt about that.
Yeah,
And-
it's been, yeah.
Right. And by law, we're supposed to appraise property values at their market value estimations. And so we have spent an extensive amount of time reviewing every single sale and building our valuation tables through statistical analysis of those sales. And we're also adjusting those sales for time and change. So values will be an estimation close to their market value, if not at their market value. I mean, that's the goal.
Right.
The tax rate will readjust and it will go down. There's a revenue neutral provision in the city charter where it is supposed to drop. It's not supposed to be a windfall. So I wouldn't be accurate if I said that no one will have an increase in their tax bill. But there may be folks that actually have a lower tax bill, others with a tax bill that's about the same, and others with an increase. It depends on partially the change of your value from what it was and the taxes that are needed to be raised. Any more questions about that?
Well, and then is it also the relative, the relative change in relation to everybody else, right?
It really is the relative change, right? So if we're at 3.8 billion in total value in Burlington, and this reappraisal results in 5 billion in total values of Burlington, the tax rate, if it's at 90 cents right now, the municipal rate, it'll probably drop to about 70 cents. I don't know what that number is exactly, but there'll be a rebalancing that has to occur.
John, I have a question.
Yes,
I'm a
Neil.
little confused.
Okay, go ahead, Neil. And then after that, Greg Epler-Wood will have his question. So go ahead, Neil.
I'm sorry, Mary.
That's okay.
John, I'm a little confused about the process because I think you came to us before maybe a year and a half ago explaining that we would get this form in the mail, which all the information about our house was on it, which we did.
Yes,
and
thank
it
you.
also asked if we wanted a personal appraiser to make a personal visit, which I did at the time because of certain circumstances about our house that I think the appraisal process needed to know. Then, of course, COVID hit. I have never heard anything. And now you're telling me that I'm going to get an appraisal without having that benefit of an individual inspector coming to the home.
Did you not have an individual inspector come to your home?
No, sir.
Okay. Well, we can set that up. What we're not doing is doing individual inspections of people's homes, but the Tyler company was calling people and asking them for a virtual inspection with like an iPhone or Android. They bought iPhones and Android phones so that they could have a conversation with the property owner, and the property owner could walk around the house with a video camera and talk to them. So I'm surprised they didn't do that, but I could set that up with you and make sure that that's taken care of. Just send me an email tomorrow.
That I will do that. And in fact, it has to do with something with the outside of the house. So if they're willing to come and inspect what I want to explain on the outside of the house, they can do it. Otherwise, I'll do a video chat with them.
And
yes, we'll make sure that's taken care of.
Thank you so much. I appreciate that.
And just to note, I filled out that form too and said there were things that weren't correct on it. And I did have a call and I did have a digital tour of the house. So, that was just letting you know that happened.
I missed all this.
That's good to hear. We had a lot of responses from the mailer that we sent out, and we collected them, and then the changes were entered. And if there were questions, basically the Tyler would call them up and ask them questions about what they were showing on the form that they filled out.
What can I say? I thought it was, maybe didn't answer the phone because I thought it was a spam or
That's
something.
possible, but email me directly, so I'll get back to you. And
I
I'll
will,
make sure
John.
that's
Thank
taken
you
care
so
of.
much. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, Greg Epler-Wood has a question.
Yeah, it was basically the same question. John didn't mention that letter that Tyler sent out a year ago. I was just wondering, I too did answer that, and hadn't heard anything after that. Not that I'm eager to do, an in-person video tour of the house. I that's fine. I'm proud of the house, but I think you've already answered the question. Thank you.
Most folks didn't. They just wanted corrections of certain data, but it didn't rise to the level of asking for an inspection.
So will the letters show all the assumptions, all the data that went into the appraisal for people who aren't attending the meeting, who were wondering if whatever happened?
No, the letter is just going to give information to where to find the property information, as well as the new valuation itself. So someone will have to go online and pull their data up. Like, we've had the property data online for years now. It's the same, it'll be in the same place. We'll just be updating that with the new valuations and new data.
John, can we make changes online ourselves? Did I hear you say that correctly?
No.
No. But, what I would suggest, I think this is good advice. It doesn't hurt to, if you notice something is in error, to contact the Tyler and actually request an inspection, not an inspection,
Okay.
request a hearing and get the data straightened out.
Okay.
Can you put that information on the screen again, or just say the number or contact info again?
I don't. Okay, I'll see what I can do. I don't have the phone number yet. It's Tyler is supposed to have that they're going to give us.
Oh, Tyler Technologies.
Tyler Technologies is the appraisal company. Oh, I'll go to the. Where is it? That's the schedule. Here it is. Tyler Technologies is the general and residential property appraisal company. Safeguard Organic Analytics is the commercial company that's doing the work.
I missed all of this.
Okay. Thank you.
Welcome. Are there any other questions? What's that?
I don't see any more hands raised, any more questions, and
Right.
so I believe that's it.
Yes. When we send the letter out, I hope that everyone reads it and looks at the data, spends a little bit of time. This is their opportunity to correct errors, and also it's the public part of the process is coming up in April. So we want people to participate. We want a good, solid database. Thank you.
Okay, well, thank you very much.
John.
John.
All right, and next up, Karen Paul. Thank you for coming, Karen, and thanks for being flexible. Oh, I think you have to unmute.
Sorry about that. So goodness, I know that everyone, it's almost 8 o'clock. I'll try to be brief. I was going to start out by talking about the election and thanking in particular, not only all the volunteers that came, but also the election officials, those that got elected, those that are already elected, and certainly for Rob, Michelle, Isaac, Kristen, Becky, and Greg, who spent an enormous amount of time getting the elections together for us. Went to a number of meetings. There's a lot of behind the scenes stuff that goes on, and just wanted to thank them one more time. The only other things I wanted to mention is just simply all of the ballot items. I don't recall this happening before. That we had number one, that we had so many ballot items, but also that they all passed. So if you're wondering what the response was, you don't have to wonder what happened on 1 and on 2 and on 3. The answer is that they all passed. And so now the charter changes will go forward to the legislature, to the government ops committee. They will be looked at there. There is a long process that they go through from there to then going to the full House and then into the Senate, and then must be signed by the governor. So there's a long road ahead for these charter changes. There were 4 of them. The others are not going to go any further than what they were. One was an advisory question and one was the cannabis question. Those are just simply questions that will stop at the city level for the most part. Then just wanted to mention something that I think is amazingly exciting, because it has been going on for not quite 15 years, probably about 12. And that is that, believe it or not, unlike the Champlain Parkway, what's been going on for 40 years, and we keep talking about it, the roundabout is actually going to be built, and it's going out to bid now. It's going out to bid now, and they're hoping to be able to open up those bids in like 2 weeks. And they're coming to the NPA in April. They're doing a significant amount of public engagement. It's going to take 2 seasons for them to get this work done. So we're not talking about this happening instantly, but it is going to get done. And that is an example of a public highway project by the state of Vermont that is almost being done in less than a decade. But we are going to get our roundabout, and I think it's going to be an exciting. I'm excited about it. I think it's an enormous. We've been through an awful lot getting rights of way, and the amount of conduit cord that is underneath the roundabout. If you were able to unzip the pavement and look at what's underneath there, it's just an amazing maze of all sorts of wiring. And all of that wiring has to be put in one place. And that means you have to get agreements from every single utility that has wiring there. And it's just been, I won't bore you with all the details, just simply know that it's on its way. And by the end of 2020, by the spring of 2023, we should have a roundabout. And I think, going into the next council year, we're only going to have one change on the council, one new councilor elected. On Tuesday, there was one councilor in the New North End, Franklin Polino, that chose not to run for re-election. And that seat is being taken by a new person who isn't really new to the city. He actually served on the school board, but is now going to be the North District City Councilor, and that is Mark Barlow. And as far as things that I think will come up very soon in the month of April, I think the first is that we need to hire a police chief. And that was supposed to be done, and a committee was formed over a year ago. They were starting to form a committee. And given the fact that we then went into a pandemic, it appeared as though a police chief probably would not be starting in terms of if they had to relocate their family or themselves, would not be starting until probably November or December. It was going to be difficult to get someone to move during a pandemic. And we might see a change in mayoral leadership. So all of it was put on hold back in April of last year. But now here we are at this April. And John Murad has been an acting chief for some time. And I think that will be a major priority going forward, is to form that committee and find a new police chief. As well, the issue of police oversight was vetoed by the mayor a month and 2 months ago. There is still a need to move that issue forward. And I think that's probably going to occupy a fair amount of our time starting in April. And then the other, which is something that I'm hoping to do, I'm hoping for the council to be able to do a little bit better than it did in 2010, is that we may very well see enough of a shift in population in the city due to the census in 2020 that we will need to do redistricting again.
Oh, God.
And the last time it was done, it was arduous. It was way too painful. It took way too long. It took really 5 years. And we didn't end up actually enacting it until 2015. And that's when the ward and district system was created. We don't know what the census is going to say clearly. There have been some shifts in Burlington in population. And because of COVID, normally those figures come out April 1. They're presented to the president. They then go to the states. They are not going to be presented to the president of the United States, that is, until the 30th of April. I guess that's by law, it has to be by the 30th. And the states will not be getting them until the early fall. So it's going to be a slightly longer process, but we'll see. There may not be enough of a shift that there would be a change. That does happen. But I think there is a desire to try and find, hopefully, a better system than the one we have now, which I think even to this day, there are people who question the ward and district makeup. So that will probably be discussed at some point in the next couple of months to come. And then I'm sure there will be many other things, but I'm happy to take any questions or let you all go and have dinner at 8:04.
Any questions?
I have a question, Karen.
Okay.
On the city police chief, because we've had a person serving there for a year, is there a possibility that we could just make this person permanent and it would just soften the process a little bit? I mean, do they do an evaluation on the current chief right now? And do we say, hey, this guy's doing okay or this person's doing okay?
Well, it really depends on whether or not Acting Chief Murad wants to be the police chief. And I don't, honestly, Joel, I don't know the answer to that. The last time that we had a search, which was in, I think, 2014, one of the deputy chiefs did apply for the job. That was Sean Burke, who did not get the position and then went on to South Burlington, is now the chief of police in South Burlington. I don't know if John desires to do this. There will be a search, and certainly if he's interested in applying, I hope that he will.
I mean, wouldn't it be nice just not? It seems like the city has had so much controversy recently. Would it be nice for one thing just to go smooth and just say, okay, boom, we're all happy. But anyway, it was just a fun.
Well, we're very, in Burlington, we are very, very big on public engagement. And I think that to go and appoint a police chief, something as important as a police chief, not only now, but just always, there needs to be a search. And I haven't spoken with the mayor about it. I know that he was committed to doing that a year ago, and would assume that his position hasn't changed, but we'll see.
Yeah. Okay.
Any other questions?
Well, I guess my presentation.
Yeah, I have a question.
Oh, somebody has a question. How wonderful.
Yeah. Let me drop mine. Yeah, Karen, just I hope a very quick question. I was just curious about the roundabout. Were there any problems with gaining, I don't know what it would be called, easement rights of way with any of the adjacent property owners, the Majestic Rental, the Catholic School, and so on?
Well, it's funny you should ask that, Greg, because there were a lot of adjacent property owners, more than I would have thought. There were quite a few, and because it extends beyond just the roundabout, or the rotary, just the rotary. You would think that was only like 3 or 4 properties, but it's quite a few more. Most of the property owners were amenable to, the very small piece of land that was needed, and the state reached out to them, made an agreement with them. The vast majority of them were done very quickly. Christ the King was also rather speedy. The only one that was difficult in that regard was Majestic Car Rental. They felt that their loss of the fact that they are going to have to change where customers come in and are going to be affected by this, perhaps in a bigger way than a lot of others, is that they felt that loss of business should be something that they were compensated for. And there are rules about that. The city council it was a while ago because we were in person. So I guess it was probably in the fall of 19. We took a tour, got on a bus, took a tour, and had to rule on a necessity, on a hearing. And eventually they did settle with the state of Vermont for, I think they compromised and came up with a settlement. Unfortunately, a loss of business isn't one of the things that the state compensates for, as long as there is another way for people to get into the business. So that probably just the negotiation and getting the rights of way probably took almost a year. So you can see why this has been a long process.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, good. Thank you very much.
But hopefully we're going to have it in 2 years. Not like the Champlain Parkway when they say another 2 years, but like for real.
All right. Well, thanks, Karen. I'm glad we had a little extra time. It's nice hearing you give us updates and keep us informed. So thank you.
Thanks so much.
Thanks, Karen. Thank you for your
wanted to make. Oh, sorry. I was going to say Michelle wanted to make one final comment before we end the meeting. Go ahead, Michelle.
Yes, thank you for your service, Karen. Thank you for all you do on behalf of Ward 6 residents and all Burlingtonians. I also just wanted to acknowledge that Joan Shannon will be our city councilor for the South District for 2 more years. So we won't have a change in representation to the council for the next year anyway. So thank you to you both for all you do for us.
Thanks. Thank you, Michelle.
All right. Well, thanks, everybody. Have a good night. See ya next month.
When we will be talking about Champlain Parkway. Come back. to hear about Champlain Parkway next month.